Hi folks, so we're going to be talking about Radley Gardens, or what I used to call it the crib. Was with the boys where I would start staying at theirs. Like I remember, even though Fish was staying there, he would not be home most of the time, so I would crash at his attic and then me and Sejal would crash upstairs, and I would get ideas of certain characters. Like Slow, when he gets drunk, he would do weird things. Things would go missing, things would go moving, but this time Sejal and I, he knew we were going to be crashing upstairs in the attic. So on the steps, he left this note. I can't remember what it says. As we progressed and as my family was moving away, I would move into the crib. While I was not staying there, Fish was living in the box room and the attic would be the spare room kind of thing. But when I moved in, Fish decided he'll go in the attic. He will rent out the box room to me. So I would go in the box room. I would still not see Fish a lot. Let's talk about the characters first. First we had downstairs was Slow. In his room I didn't have too many memories apart from playing PlayStation, I think it was. And I think he had a special fridge where he always had 2 to 4 beers. And every day he would drink a couple of beers. Next to him was the kitchen. In the kitchen these guys would chill a lot. I never got this thing of guys chilling in the kitchen, so I wouldn't chill too much in the kitchen unless it was like a smoking area time or something. I remember learning how to do certain things. I'll just share a picture of that there. And then in the kitchen also, during winter, I made a friend, a squirrel. This squirrel, I thought it was the funniest thing because I thought he was stealing all the nuts and things I used to leave out for him, because they would disappear so fast and I'm like, you haven't even eaten them. And then I noticed like he was stashing them for winter or whatever, but he had started putting them in different places. So squirrel, thanks for showing me your ways. It was nice spending time with you. Another thing Slow would do was we would never see him cook, but then he would make some of the best things, and he would introduce me to something called Shana Paratha. So I would make those. Can't remember what I used to make, get all these ready meals, dal makhni and palak paneers and things like that. Over to the corridor, I think there was not much going on. Maybe Henry the Hoover was hiding in there somewhere. Then we come to the living room area. The living room area was divided into 2 parts. One part was just knickknacks and paddywhacks, and that's where Segi would teach me more about ironing trousers, collars, do them properly like a man. And I would see Lalji, Lalji we wouldn't see often because he would be spending time with his socials and Puj, but he would do his ironing there. And then the living room, where I spend a lot of my time monging, as Shuli would call it, monging, just smoke up, watch comedies, just do nothing. I think the channel was called Trouble E4 something. I used to watch a lot of 70s show, My Wife and Kids and Scrubs. That area would turn into, like, they had this couch kind of thing which would turn into a sofa futon thing. Becky and I crashed once. Upstairs would be Shuli's room, the music collection he gave me. Great man. Snap. Next to that was Lalji's room also. Next to him would be the toilet where I would do some hairdressings for other people and myself. There was some interesting memory there. I don't know if it was just the hairdressing or if there was more to it. And then there was the box room, which was me. Now box room would become my dojo because the monging and chilling I would do in the living room. In my room, I would find courses and courses and courses. So many courses to do. And the weird thing was, first it just started with me turning into this mad person, a digger, like really digging into music of all kinds, Gypsy Kings, all sorts. And then also adult content, and then would see courses, would see software, and stand-up comedies. Let me tell you something. Before Russell Peters got popular with that Tops and Bomb, I started sharing it with people. Quite a few people got into it like a few years later, but I'm like, I already shared this with you. But anyway, that was comedies. I would get to know so many, because most of the time I just knew African American comedies, and it was the usual stuff, white people, weed, and then I would find out guys like Lewis Black into political comedies and one-liner comedies, deadpan comedies, Dadaism. The guys I really like are Dane Cook and Billy Connolly because of the storytelling skill. Something you can use. I think That's a thing my side of the family also like getting into, which is why I'm doing this. But yeah, so comedy. But then the courses, man, self improvement. Vivek, Sach, and Ashu had already turned me on to the game. It was a story of the pickup artists. While they had turned me on to that, I had already found a guy called David D'Angelo, W Dating. This guy, I've made so many series already about what this guy shared, especially when he brought on this guy called Paul Dobransky for boundaries and saying no. Two of the biggest things which have just flipped my life into the positive, like big time. So David D'Angelo, W Dating was his series, and he had a box set of W Dating meeting women, W Dating in a game, W Dating this. Then I would get into these guys called Hypnotica and Steve Pickus. They were more into NLP. Steve Pickus was into White Tiger Tantra, which I can't even begin to explain that one. It's basically, this guy is just, you just find out for yourself. While that was happening, the chip on my shoulder had become much bigger in certain things, while in other things, like Shuli would help me knock off quite a few. Like the uni life thing was very quick and done. Like he used to take us to Leicester and this one, Nottingham. So there was another thing which was like helping me close off a lot of things from my bucket list. And I was like, wait a minute, most of this uni life and stuff is just drinking mostly. Drinking, pubs. Freshers Week I got to experience, which was again drinking, meeting people, people being weird to each other. I can't remember if it was Manchester when we went to, and these girls were just laughing at a guy, at his face. Sikh girl, Indian girl, laughing at a Sikh Muslim guy because he was circumcised. In a way, it was a good experience, but I'm glad I got to finish that one off quickly. And then Fish helped me, all these guys just helped me figure out a lot of things that I could check off. And then I was ready to go on to the next chapter, which was Fish showing me things like sustainability, environmental stuff, and different places. He would take me to concerts like Ethiopian Dance, which is Addis Ababa Syndicate, and I can't find them, but they were so good. So him and Fal would take me to those kind of things. During this uni time, I figured out another reason why I was an introvert. I didn't know that word back then. I don't think I still knew about that word. But I would get away. I would find a way to like have some kind of distance while I'm still participating, but have a distance. So I would sleep under tables. But in one case, Bob stole my position. So uni, like there's so many memories. There are so many memories that will slowly get through. Apart from the characters in the house, we had a lot of regular visitors. Parith was one of the main ones. Him and Shuli would be into the football and so many other things. And Parith, there was never a time he didn't make me have a deep laugh. That guy is hilarious. Hilarious. Shamik, I've already done a time capsule on that one. Then there was Akshay, Action. Very chatty guy, much older guy. And lots of fun. Like he lived a very strange life. Like he has this whole house to himself. Garden was a mess until many years later these guys decided like, you know what, let's get this done, and they really helped him with that. But very tuned into so many things. You can talk to him about so much, and certain things like I really wish I could have talked to him about, but it was a personal journey for me and my own healing, therapy, self-discovery, all those kind of things. And he used to go talk about terabytes. We were still getting used to gigabytes, and he used to have like this storage of music and so much, man. Akshay was like next level. Bob, I'm going to do a special one, but that guy, like in the house itself, the main thing I remember was when I was talking about Team Moscow. Team Moscow had done a Mount Snowdonia climbing thing. We had a big meeting. We turned it into this nice event. And when I was talking, Bob was being a clown. So he pissed me off and I just pushed him down on the couch. Man, he had a bit of a tantrum, a sook moment where he just walked away, or I don't know if he cried or what, but I was like, listen, I need to finish. But me and him, we would be on the same plane on some things, and he helped me a lot with my blog, mindsets and things. So his time capsule, we'll talk about that. And then there was Ashita. She was the one of the few girls who used to come to the house and hang with the boys. Very sweet, very friendly, like very lively, man. And then there was Bushy. Bushy, I've already done a collab with him in a previous one. Segi, I've already talked about in a previous time capsule. But in the house, Segi. The big memory I have is, again, I was sleeping in my room. By now, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but long time ago, for at least 3-4 years, I couldn't sleep. I had to have something to go to sleep, and slowly I was getting into the mode of sleeping properly and not. But he decided he's going to use a coin or something to open the door and disturb me or something, or scare me. Like Segi being Segi, he's a funny character, lots of pranks and stuff. That pissed me off. So I went down, I rolled up a newspaper, I hit him on his head with it. I can't remember what I said, but he's like, look, no violence, that's fine. I think it was just a quick one. Don't fuck around. So that was me enforcing my boundaries, but not in a healthy way. Slowly I would figure out how to enforce boundaries better and using words, communication. And then there would be Kazo. We call him Kazo because he was Trishul's cousin. He would come, stay with us, this, that, IT guy, fun guy. But he also had his moments of, let's call it, expression. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was those scam emails. He's like, you guys are just so stupid. He would just send emails out saying this. Slowly, while I was staying there, I was starting to build my pillars because of the self-development and stuff. Body, mind, spirit or soul. So gym, I would start going regular to the gym, plus fitness in Harrow. I would meet Wildy, Manraj, all these guys there. I would see this guy, 22 kgs both hands. I was still on 10s, man. 22 on both hands. This guy's skinnier than me, but his chest was popping, man. Him and his partner, like, he would chew Snickers and do that. So I was slowly picking up on all these things. Mind, I was already feeding myself constantly. I haven't stopped feeding myself constantly. So spirit was Kriyas on Fridays, satsangs on Thursdays. So those would be busy. Some days I wouldn't go, and then we would get into these more than half an hour long debates with all the housemates. No, we don't want to go there. We want to go here. We don't want to go there. I'm like, listen, man, if you don't decide now, I'm going to do my spiritual stuff. But some nights we had some good clubbing nights. I was even screwing up my brain because now I had access to internet, no rules about what kind of content you can download and whatnot. So just rewiring my brain in the wrong way at the same time as fixing certain pillars and foundations. So there was a contradiction there. But the Sunday Kriyas, I used to love Sunday. First of all, you wake up in the morning. The best thing I've ever done is train myself to wake up very early in the morning. There's something called Brahma Muruta, which I would do much later, 2-3 years later, where you wake up, I think it's 45 minutes before sunrise, but you can figure that one out on your own. Sunday Kriyas, man, you're so fresh. The day hasn't even started. Friday Kriyas would be in the evening after a whole week of work and stuff, so that was more like a release, while this one was just like starting the day, blissed out. And more on the Art of Living side when I do Amit, Drijan, Ajay, Uncle's Art of Living capsules. When I was doing the body side of the pillar, I would start joining classes like spin, or first I would do body pump, just that 45-minute session. And the pump I got, I could see, like, once you get a pump, you see the potential you can get, man. There was this thing called a vibra plate or something, where I used to do some stretches, or while you're vibrating, you do squats, and you can do weird things. So I used to do that. Cycling, I used to do the seated bikes. And then next door was Macca's. So I used to go to Macca's next door, and there's some videos. I think I have a video of a very cute kid eating a Macca's, and the mum caught me taking videos. The other thing we would get into is chasing the rally, WRC. And through there, I would get to bump into Rajiv quite a bit, Nihar Maru, Apu, and the music, man. Some songs. I'm sure I'm going to talk about the songs Rajiv hooked me up with, but there's those two, man. Hava Hava, the version he had during that rally time, and Aiko Aiko Ane. And I remember Lalji, man. Every song, whatever song he liked, ting ting. He used to do ting ting. Insomnia, ting 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 ting. Oh, Saturday night, ting 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 ting. Like I said, the chip on the shoulder was because in this house, I went through final breakup. Nikki had come to Radley, she came to see me. And then once she left, both of us kind of knew this would be like a final thing, especially if she went back to Kenya and got with the program while I was starting to want to close bucket lists and experience life. So that after that breakup, like it took me years, man, years to just get over. It's like a mourning you have to do. Even though I used to get in and out of relationships for a long time, physically, I couldn't commit to anyone until someone else I'll talk about later. And so this would turn into my chrysalis phase. Right now I'm going through a chrysalis phase where you say goodbye to a whole set of things, or you start the process of melting the whole caterpillar in the cocoon, and you don't know if you're going to turn into a moth, a butterfly, what. Contradictions, big time contradicting lifestyle. And because of that, you'll notice people who have really big problems, like nothing's working out for them in life, they will have a release valve. So I had this release valve where I would get pissed off or throw tantrums about the smallest things. The boys are making fun of me getting a Mac while they are PC. It's real stuff, but it's also like release valves. You just pick little random things, like really stupid things, but you need it. You need to chew on that before you lose it on the bigger stuff. I remember one thing which really upset me. On top of that, most of the guys I'm hanging out with are into drinking. I'm not into drinking. I actually had disdain for all these guys who were so addicted to drinking. They just had to check into a pub, get all the drinks and this and that. So combine that with the introversion, it's called something. Some words could be avoidance coping, dissociation through intoxication, exit strategy drinking, where I would drink really fast and then mess myself up, either throw up or knock out or whatever, so I don't have to deal with the rest of the rigmarole of transactions that happen. Because for me, drinking was to party, not just to sit, get high and then jackals. I couldn't deal with that stuff, man. Now there was another character who had also joined. I'm going to make a special one on him. I'm going to call him Slime Bucket. I don't even mention his name. When he joined the house and slowly started muscling in, I knew things had started going down. So it was time for me to go to the next level. I could either go down. And anyway, in his time capsule, you'll see how he just, one bad apple just ruined so much, man. It's like crazy. One bad apple. Now, Osho talks about this in such a nice way. He's just like, people, when you go into a dark room with a candle, you say, oh, look, there's spider webs. So you start cleaning that room. But while you're cleaning here, the light goes there and you're like, oh no, we have to move those boxes. We have to get rid of this thing and this, that. So I was figuring out so many things, and I would get much deeper into this over the years. And now that I had set up some foundations, I was not ready to let those budge. Those were 3 pillars. There was 3 other ones: relationships, finances, and something else. But those would be much later, especially finance. Like I would start getting better into it, but I didn't want to focus. I didn't really care about money that much back then. Love, money, friendship, company, all that. There was one incident I forgot to mention with Jadu's one where he was driving. He played this very nice song which I chased him for. And then his reflexes were so good because all the cars braked in front and he swerved. Like he braked in the start as a reaction, but that's the worst thing you can do. Don't hold on to the brake, release, and then he just swerved, turned to the side. That was skills, man. And while we are at get-togethers with that sleaze bucket, we would meet a very cool guy in Leeds or Leicester, and we would have a night of drinking at his house, which was one night I said definitely not. I'm not even taking a sip. So they would call me Walter, as in the softie from comics. Now, good tip. We were at his house. We had a lot of fun, all this, that. And at some point, Shuli did this Cinderella fall. He spun. He just wouldn't fall. He just spun until he finally fell. And the other thing I remember was that roommate is a black guy. And black guys are very particular, especially because they are focused on getting the women and everything. He was pissed off when he came home. He's like, you guys, first of all, it's only you guys, no girls, and you left the room dirty. And that was the other thing which didn't gel with me much, because I was like, it's just always sausage parties where guys are just getting drunk until a certain time where things start getting borderline gay with all the tickling and touching and stuff. There were times, man, this sleaze bucket, I don't know where he was thinking. Like, he's like, where are the girls? Bring the girls, man. Where are the girls? I'm like, first of all, my lady friends or my friends, my circles, I keep them separate for a reason. Second of all, you don't just get them. You don't just get like, oh, you know, he was used to this, especially because of that mujra stuff. He just thinks he can sit there, give money, and oh, they're going to come. Dumbass. I would focus more on practicing dance moves or just watching, just filling my head with so many things. And then slowly I would start building my connections with spiritual guys, the alternative lifestyle people, doing courses. And then I would get another girlfriend. But by then, around then, my love life after the breakup, I had already set it up because I couldn't stay alone for a long time. I just had to have company. I found out Ishani was down the road from me. So one was cuddles, one was outings with Sejal. Desserts and movies and stuff, and yeah, so Becky, Lucy, all these people, a combination of at least 3 of them would make the perfect relationship for me, while I was filling in this big hole of a 9-year relationship just gone. I would get so many dance videos from Mr. Wiggles, the best at popping and locking. He invented moves. How he breaks down things would help me learn how to small chunk other things I want to learn. And then there was Bunny Rabbit or Mr. Rabbit or something. There was Tolvi and Dean who are doing like foxtrot, waltz, bachata. There were these twins who I would learn belly dance from, Nina and Mina or something. And it was just, even though I wouldn't do belly dance, I would just learn the movements of how the trickery is not moving the hips in belly dancing, it's the knees. There was vocal training, music composition. I would get into, because I wanted music production, I'd try and learn Logic and this other one, Reason. Reason was so hard. Logic was much better, but it's much more advanced than Fruity Loops and all these other ones people use. And like I say, that David D'Angelo boundary one, I would not even understand the importance of it until much later, until I finally integrate, because I think it's Sadhana Chatushtaya which explains it. You start with one, just understanding or learning it first. Then you go through it, then you understand it. Then you go through it, then you integrate it. Then you go through it, then you get to wisdom. Some other memories was Kazo living in us. Another memory of our outing was when Ravi had come from wherever he came from. We went to some uni and we met up with Rinit, and then they would make fun of Rinit because they couldn't say his name, so they would call him Nitin and all this. And I would end up teaching Rinit Photoshop and getting to know his sister, so I would chat with her a lot, Chandan. And I just remember a skip outside his house every time I used to go to his house to teach him Photoshop. Segi and I would get along because we loved the girls. We just needed to be around them. And he couldn't sit still for too long. So let's like, okay, now where are we going? Only time he would sit still is Bollywood movies. And even if a Bollywood movie is not that nice, it'd be like, you have to see it, man. It's so good, so good. There was one night when we did get drunk and I played all the songs and it used to be like the up and down, oh, wow, whoa, man, whoa, this is nice song. Then they go, no, let's do the next one. Whoa! And that's how DJ Love Soul, Raj Kotecha, that's how he DJs. He tries to get the initial first minute of, and then he'll play the next song. And then that was the night I realized there was a yucky version of Mr. Vane, which everyone had. I'm like, you guys have a dirty synth in yours, man. Especially after you hear the synth version of mine. Like, that synth makes my ears want to throw up. It's like, and then you hear ding, 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 ding. The Lalji version. Ting, 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 ting. Now, there was another guy called Bailo. Another Trishul called Bailo. I would hear so many strange stories of this guy roaming in the balcony in his underwear, or having affairs, or saying he's going to adopt a dog because he was on the dole and he can get some more money off the dole. And slowly I would start learning about androgyny. In Carl Jung, his philosophy, he explained it as anima animus. At some point in a guy's life, he will start exploring, or at least thinking about, Lord Shiva has this androgyny, Prince androgyny. Why have they got such attraction? Because of these two things they've balanced or mixed inside themselves. David Bowie. But I would start researching stuff like that. And here is where I think I would start doing courses like DSN, a whole day doing poses of the sun salutations, or like constant until you feel the poison coming out of you. Like, that was crazy because you do Ujjayi breath with it. Then you go, DSN was also doing service. So there was so much growth in there. I became a breathwater sound teacher throughout of living. I would do the Maya animation course. And then all of this, I would start learning that instead of stopping my addictions and bad things, just start doing more good things. That's why I start all these new channels and so many things like that. And then I would learn about Vairagya. Vairagya is detachment, cutting off things, just letting go. Non-accumulation, friends, things, thoughts, bucket lists, etc. Just checking, clearing so much off. And This was when I used to look up to Vivek a lot. So, and he would live such a simple life. He would give away so much, wouldn't keep too much and stuff. So he would be a motivation for me to, like, someone I could talk to. And during these times, because no one was staying in Arnas Grove, like, we would still meet around Arnas because of Southgate, or I can't remember, was he staying with Masa? But Masa had died and he was a very funny character. And we would just sit, even if it's just waiting for buses or something, just two cats just lost. Like, have you seen two cats just playing and just being just enjoying each other's company like nothing else exists? That's how we would talk. And then he would have a friend we would go see, Paul, who would tell us about how poo is 80% bacteria. Very funny character, very nice guy. Oh, and around this time, I was just like, you know what? All my life, somehow or another, I've been connected with Alpha Knits. Whether it was in Kenya, in Westland, selling the shops, or going to their store, or when we were staying in Kenya, through the knitting and patterns and all that. So I would start, Madhu Uncle would have started a company called Kasuku, or their company would have started this Kasuku, selling kikois and stuff. And we would go and help him in the stalls. When I say we, mostly me and Neha, because Saga would be delegating. I'm just delegating and just making noise. We would get into that and go to the stalls, help him set up the stall, learn about this thing, that thing, all that. So I would start getting more involved in that side of things. Now, the other memories are I would have chats with Raki also. Oh, the cutest girl. Me and Prashil used to just look at her in primary school. And now she's become this lady. I found her there. We would chat, either meet her in Crazy Horse or places like that, or bump into her. And then when Shamik's visit, oh man, he used to hook us up with music. He used to hook me up with chopped and screwed stuff. So I would learn about chopped and screwed music from Southern Smoke people and Paul Wall and all that. And the streets. And then he would take us to Queensbury, upstairs somewhere where like 16 Somalis are in one room. And he used to buy handas from there. I can go on and on. There were so many different memories from different things and stuff. But I realized I was starting to grow into something else with all the things I was getting into. One of the biggest reasons was that sleaze bucket moving in, or constantly being there. I was like, look, man, I can see where this thing is going and I don't want to go with it. I don't want to be with this train. I need to up my level. And the other reason was I loved this Chrysalis phrase. I love change. I love starting fresh. Because I can start fresh and, put the pillars down properly with the foundations and all that. Some of the addicted people would end up getting into really bad situations, while the others, once, especially when Fish told me he's moving back to Kenya, I was like, man, there's no point in me hanging around. Or like, Fish was one of the big guys. Like, I could still get along with him. We can talk about environment. We have those kind of interests. But there were times, like, even driving back from uni, I would usually sit in the back because I don't talk much. I just like zoning out, monging out, and just getting into deep thought, introspection, all that stuff. And if I sat in front, it would just be silence, and Shuli would just be like, say something, talk to me, keep me awake. And there was one night we saw such a beautiful moon outside. I had a big feeling that Sleazy guy had some gay things in him, especially if those 3 a.m. drunken tickle sessions he had with the other guys. Until the neighbors would come and say, can you please keep it down? Like, my sons are sleeping, or, like swearing down and all that. But all that in his time capsule. Time to move on. Guys were moving out also. They were moving to a different place. Norbit. Somewhere. They were moving somewhere. We all cleaned the house. I did a very minimal part because we had all gone out with some girls. And for some reason, they didn't really take it out on me as much as they did on Bob, because maybe Bob didn't do anything. So they didn't talk to him or let him in the house for a very long time. We cleaned the house, shampooed all the carpet, and I went from the frying pan into the fire, which was a much needed thing for me. Like, I really needed that fire. So we shall get into that one in a future one. See you then.